Hello, everyone. This is Philip Martin, and welcome to Which Dog Is It This Week? This is Paris. Paris really does kind of belong on this. What would you call this? A vlog, video column, a vodcast. I don't know, because Paris is credentialed. Paris is a film critic, and she's hasn't reviewed anything for a while, but she'll probably get another chance at some point. Anyway, after that inauspicious beginning, let's. This is OnFilm. It is May 29th. Actually, I'm doing this earlier in the week, but you know. You should be watching this no earlier than Friday. If you have found it before Friday, well, congratulations. Spoiler alert. This week, you know, I wrote my budget note to all my guys who contribute to Movie Style every week. And I sent it out and I said, you know, we're kind of pretending it's normal now, because the lead film the lead review in our section this week is The High Note, which doesn't look too promising to me, but who knows? Could be good. Haven't seen it. Dan Liebarger is seeing it. I am waiting his review right now. In fact, as soon as I finish this little thing, maybe I'll go downstairs and there'll be a review there, and I can edit it and move it on. Paris, are you getting... Paris looks like a wolf. She wants you to know that. She does not look like a possum. She looks like a wolf. And she's my 12-year-old girl, and she's getting down. So I can get closer. The sound sounds... Okay, no more talking about technical stuff. The sound sounds a little funny to me today. I don't know if it is funny or whatever, but it sounds funny to me. So if there's something going on in your... Something going on in your headphones, or however you're listening to this, well, I don't know what it is. We're using the same setup as we have in the past. We're using the same setup we've been using, so I don't know why it sounds different. If it sounds different to you, and it may not. But anyway, we're pretending to be normal. 80-something days of the ankle bracelet in. Theaters are open, 7 of them around the state. All the independent, well, they're all independent ones that are open, and we're not expecting the chains to come back online for another month, at least. Maybe some will pick up the Unhinged, the Russell Crowe road rage movie. There's another movie coming out called Greenland that STX is putting out, I think sometime early in July. And then tentatively we have Tenet on July 17th, though there's some question about that. A lot of that's going to be dependent upon New York and LA, and if the theaters there can open and if they can show it, then it'll probably open. If not, it may get pushed back to August, we're hearing now. So we're in this thing together. There's plenty of content. There's plenty of things to watch. Lots of movies. I mean, if you just want to, just soak in it, you can find whatever movies were playing when you were 12 years old on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime or whatever your favorite flavor is, and just, dig deep down into them. I have not resorted to that yet. I've been pretty busy. I watched AKA Jane Roe, which I did it for work. Would I recommend it? No, unless you're interested in not necessarily the abortion debate, because it's really more of a character study of this woman who was really badly used by a lot of people, and sort of like how she got back at them. If But again, you could read my review, and if you probably know if you want to see something like that or not, and you've probably either seen it already, and a lot of that is just signifying what gang you're in. Maybe you have to see it if you have if you hold certain beliefs. I don't know. I'm not going to get into the politics of it. I will say that I think the correct pro-life stance, the consistent one, is the one evinced by Nat Hentoff and others. That if you're pro-life, you're pro-life. You're not in favor of capital punishment. You're not in favor of euthanism, assisted suicide, anything like that. I think that's a morally consistent stand that I don't think everybody who claims to be pro-life exhibits. But on to the main thing, which won't get me in trouble, or not too much trouble. And that is, someone asked what we're doing, what we're watching right now. And I've cheated a little bit because it's all done from memory, number one, and I'm not the only one who remembers stuff, because Karen will say, hey, remember this? And I go, oh, yeah. Devs, we got to go back to Devs. There's a lot of shows we started, like Mrs. America, the Phyllis Schlafly movie with Cate Blanchett, who's really good in it, but it just feels kind of TV movie-ish to me. But anyway, we were asked, what are we watching? And it's funny because I used to go back in the day, back when I used to fly to New York and LA 7, 8, 12 times a year to see movies on these junkets, and I would be there with what we lovingly called the ilk, which is the entertainment reporters, the lapdog entertainment press of this country, really is what it was, because there are very few critics that actually do this, because most of the critics go to the screening and then they don't go to the junket, because most of the critics lived in places where they had screenings, like New York, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, Chicago. But if you're a critic in a tertiary market like Little Rock, Arkansas, well, you didn't get screenings very often, but you did get a chance if you wanted to go to New York or Los Angeles or Chicago or sometimes Dallas. You could go screenings there. But sometimes when you did that, I mean, you went and you also, because it's a big expense to go, you would go and do the interviews. In fact, that's how you got invited to go to these things. So you would have to sit in on the interviews, the round tables, and sometimes you would get a one-on-one I used to like to get one-on-ones with directors. I don't particularly like interviewing people who are in front of the camera a lot, because those people know how to work you. They're actors. Their job is enlisting your empathy. Their job is making you believe what they say. So I'm not terribly interested in those kind of interviews, because basically they have a program and they stick to it. I was more interested in talking to directors, sometimes writers, occasionally producers, but usually when producers show up at these things, it's because they want to be interviewed, and you don't. It's just sort of like, yeah, okay. But anyway, we would go to these things a lot, and trying not to lose my point here. But we would go and do these interviews a lot. So we stopped having those, and boy, I just totally have lost my thread now. Okay, it's like one of my classes. I lost my thread. But anyway, so people are interested in what we're watching now. I know what my thread was. And I would go to these junkets, and I would be with the ilk. And I was always amazed that these people who, professionally had to watch these movies, and professionally, how they were so into, and I don't mean this disparagingly, because I really admire it, how they would be so deeply into this they'd watch so many TV shows, and they would keep up with so much. Now, granted, some of them couldn't tell you, who the vice president was, and they certainly couldn't tell you who was leading the NL Central, but, they knew this pop culture stuff in a granular way. They could tell you all about these shows that I had never seen and never will see, and I'm just impressed, or just kind of in awe of this sort of ability that human beings have to drill down into this stuff and actually follow it. Because, it's sort of like, I don't watch Homeland. If I don't watch, like, Showtime's Homeland, it's like, I usually have no idea what's going on there. I mean, I have a vague idea. Okay, Carrie's running away from the CIA station chief, and she's with the Russian guy, and I have a vague idea, but I don't know. I don't remember, like, in season 4 this happened and that happened, and they have this history and this character show. I just don't think that way. I mean, I don't get as engrossed in it as maybe I should. But anyway, I can't keep up with a whole lot of shows. I just can't. It's just, and we limit our viewing. We don't watch TV that much. My television, you know what I just figured out? I think this hum that I'm hearing, I think this is the guys outside, the lawn people, doing stuff. So I'm not going to worry about it anymore. If you hear if you don't hear it, yes, I'm crazy and there's ghost here or something. But if you hear it, that's what it is. It's not my equipment. Thank you. It's not optimal, but we can live with it. But anyway, so we have certain rules. We don't really watch TV except between 7 and 9:30 p.m. at nights when we're home. This does not apply to sports, but we don't have sports right now because I'll watch sports anytime, and watch it on my iPad, stuff like that. And usually it doesn't account. Usually the movies I watch I don't watch them in these time periods now. I used to, and we still will if there's something that looks promising that we both want to see. But usually I'm watching the movies on my iPad on my own time, not on family time, not between 7 and 9 p.m. at night. So basically we turn the TV on. We're listening to music, and then about 7:15 or so, turn the music off, turn the TV on. Then we watch TV for a couple of hours, generally a night. So, that's not a whole lot in the whole scheme of things. And we don't binge. That's the other thing. I think I've said that before. We do not binge TV shows. We watch one, turn it off, watch another, turn it off. The next night, we don't even go back to the ones we watched the night before. Which makes a difference now, because the rhythms of a show like Ozark it's sort of made to be binged, because you get these kind of cliffhanger endings and these big... I mean, there's so much that happens in these shows. I read something where someone said Ozark was slow and not much happened in it, and I was like, what are you, nuts? I mean, these shows really pack a lot of stuff in there. So anyway, that's the ground rules. And here's kind of the roster of what we do. And we subscribe to everything. I'm sorry, back when it made sense to itemize your taxes, this was tax deductible for me because I am your, Mr. Big Shot movie guy. So, typically started on Monday nights. Monday night, and we're always home now, okay? Didn't used to be. Used to be we'd be gone 2 or 3 nights a week, but now we're pretty much home. So Monday nights, we generally go back and try to find the HBO stuff on Sunday night that we missed because we were watching something else. Because we're streaming it, we're not watching it on HBO, we're watching it on HBO Now. I think that's the one we're watching. But we're watching it on that, so we'll go back and we'll watch John Oliver Last Week Tonight. And then we'll watch like if we're watching, we did I talk about it? I didn't really like it, but we watched all of The Insider, and now we're watching the Mark Ruffalo. I Know This Much Is True, which is really depressing, and Ruffalo's really good in it, and he's playing two parts. He's playing twins, and one of them is handsome Mark Ruffalo looking twin, and the other one is Mark Ruffalo after gaining 20 pounds twin, and apparently he actually went away and gained 20 pounds and came back and filmed the second part of it, which is way more dedication than I think I would have. I don't know. It depends on what they paid me, I guess. But anyway, so we'll do that on Monday night. We'll go back and we'll pick up the HBO Sunday night ones that we missed. Insecure, Issa Rae's show that we did a thing on. God, it seems like, was it this year? I think it was early this year. We actually did a thing at Philander Smith with Issa Rae's with a producer and me and the mayor, Frank Scott. Frank and I, we chopped it up on stage and all that. But anyway, so we pick up the HBO stuff that we missed, and sometimes there's usually, like, I'm hit and miss on Curb Your Enthusiasm. I like it, but I kind of see where it's going all the time, and I kind of see around the sides of these shows, and it's it's entertaining, but usually there's something more important that we need to watch. Need to watch, But anyway, so that's kind of the Monday nights, like the HBO night. Tuesday night, who knows? Lately we've been turning on Billions, which is I wrote about it a little bit in my column last Sunday because I was writing about the watches, which, yes, I am a watch freak, and no, I'm not wearing one right now, and that's sort of on purpose because I didn't want to start doing a whole riff on watches. But so we watched that. The other show that I've already mentioned that we watch on Showtime is Homeland, which I can't wait for it to be over. I know it is over in most people's minds, but we haven't gotten to that finale yet, and I'm waiting to see. The one thing about Homeland that is really eerie to us is that, and Jack, I know you're not listening to this because this would be something that you wouldn't do, but Saul Berenson, is that his name? Yes, Saul. Anyway, Saul looks exactly like our friend and former colleague, Jack Schneller. Exactly like him. Even moves like him. And it's really odd and amusing to see Jack Schneller saving the world. So, anyway, so Homeland is not... I don't know. I mean, it's like, I guess you could have made a case for it being a good show at one point. But now it's just, I'm just in there. I just want to get through it and find out what happens to Franny and all that. But anyway, so, yes, we subscribe to Showtime. We get 2 shows that we watch. All right, that's not cost efficient. I know. Netflix is our big one. But right now on Netflix, we haven't got the big hour-long drama. We're watching Hollywood, which my neighbor recommended, and I'm enjoying it as much as I enjoy any sort of highly stylized Ryan Murphy series. And again, I'm not a TV guy, or at least I wasn't until this recent unpleasantness. But what I've seen of Murphy's stuff is sort of like, okay, I get it. Yeah. Stylized. Some of it's really smart. Some of it's really dumb. Some of the performances are entertaining, I'll say that. But, so Hollywood's and it's only 45 minutes. I guess it's because someplace it's showing with commercials. I guess. I don't know. We did like Unorthodox, which is, season, it's gone. It's already, well, I say it's gone. It's like we're finished with it. But, you can still watch it. It's about the Hasidic Jew, the woman who escapes this Brooklyn community, Williamsburg community, goes to Germany. And one of the reasons I watch it is because, hey, Berlin. I like Berlin. I've been to Berlin. Look at that. That's Berlin. Okay. Which is the same thing for Counterpart, which is the J.K. Simmons series, which is running on Amazon Prime. And we're in the second season of that. It's another one of those science fiction, set in the near future series that it's just incomprehensible. Mainly because, we'll watch one episode a week. And it's hard to keep her. A lot of women who have black hair and that, hard to tell them apart if you don't watch it all the time. So, there's that. Jumping back and forth. So, Unorthodox was one I really liked. Dead to Me, which is back for a second season. And it's just... one of the things that 20 years ago, when Linda Cardinelli was in Scooby-Doo, she was like Velma. She was like the plane worm. And now 20 years later, she is just this, sex bomb. And Christina Applegate, who I've always loved, is funny in this, but it's a funny, stupid show. Funny, stupid, which is sort of the way I feel about what's the name of it? Upload? The Amazon Prime show that I just started watching. It's sort of funny dumb, It's not funny good like The Good Place, which is a really smart show. There's nothing dumb about it. It's just, it's just got that sort of pacing and that sort of, rhythms to it that make it sort of okay. Hi. Afterlife may be my favorite show right now. That's the Ricky Gervais show about a depressed newspaper guy. Actually, he's barely a newspaper guy, whose wife died of cancer, and now he has absolutely no reason to go on, except he is going on. And I actually had a weird Twitter exchange with Gervais last year. Well, I wrote this very complimentary, appreciation of it, and he retweeted that or something, or tweeted at me, and I tweeted back at him, and I asked him if he was familiar with Walker Percy's concept of the ex-suicide, which is exactly what this show is about. It's about a guy who has just given up so he can go on living. Because, he's dead already, so why not just keep going? Which is terribly oversimplifying both the show and Walker Percy. But and of course Ricky Gervais sends back, he goes, no, I never heard of that. So, just great minds. The same thing, Rectified, the old Ray McKinnon series. I asked Ray basically that same question because there's also a lot of stuff that's in Rectify that made me think of Walker Percy and this concept of the ex-suicide, which I've written songs about. I'm not going to play them here. It's not the right place. But, it's something that's intrigued me, and so you see it everywhere. Dead to Me, Afterlife, Grace and Frankie, that's the other one that... it's like every third show is brilliant, and the other two are just dumb. So, But we need, we need a half-hour block. We need, and that's sort of like, okay, we get to the end of something, and it's like, okay, what's a half hour? What can we watch for a half hour? That's why that's... So I've covered Showtime, I've covered Netflix, covered HBO, Amazon Prime. What else do I need to say? I need Devs, which is kind of getting into. The Bosch, which... really good piece this week by Dan Liebarger. Interview with Michael Connolly, the creator of Bosch. One of the reasons I like Bosch, and it's one of the same reasons I like the Billy Bob Thornton show Goliath, is it really is set in L.A. and it's really shot there. And those are real places, most of them, where they film. And it just gives me a vicarious feeling, a thrill, to see all these places, because I've been to LA a lot and know LA, and it's like L.A., New York. Even if you've never been to New York, you know New York. And L.A. is sort of like that. It has a lot of landmarks that are kind of belong in this collective consciousness we have, this reservoir of common imagery, but you may not know exactly. I'd recommend a film, Los Angeles Plays Itself, which for a long time you couldn't rent or see because it has thousands, I'm exaggerating, hundreds of movie clips in it, and they couldn't get clearance for all of them, or it was really difficult. But anyway, Los Angeles Plays Itself. Highly recommend it. I think it's 2.5 hours long. I've shown it in classes before. I think I've shown half and then half, but it's really good. And but that's a reason to watch Bosch, which is really good on the police stuff. Some of the cop shows are really bad on the police stuff. Bosch is good with the details. As far as whether it's a well acted, good drama, sometimes it is, and sometimes it gets, in the weeds. But for the most part, it's based on Connolly's books, and the books are well researched, and a lot of the storylines are very credible. And then, everything happens to Bosch, or Bosch is, in the middle of everything all the time, which isn't very credible, plausible, but, he's an L.A. homicide detective, so maybe so. Which leaves us with the Outliers, and I'm going to wrap this up in less than 30 minutes, which is my goal, it looks like. One of the great shows right now we're enjoying is this thing called No Offense on Acorn. It's a British TV show that was created by Paul Abbott, who's the guy who created Shameless, which started out as a British series, and Showtime brought it over here. And it's a great police series because it really captures the way that, at least in my experience, police officers relate to one another. So it's really cool. And the other, and I'm saving this for last because I don't really like it. I don't. I tolerate it. And I kind of enjoy it in a weird kind of way. But Karen, I think, really likes it. It's a Swedish drama called The Restaurant. I think the Swedish title is Our Time Is Now. And it's basically about this family that runs this restaurant. It picks up right at the end of World War II, where apparently they were the hottest restaurant in Stockholm for the Nazis. The Nazis like to go there. And it's now in the mid-50s where we are, and just started the second season. And it's like Downton Abbey. It's just pure soap opera. And if you like pure soap opera, you'll like it. And if you don't like pure soap opera, you'll find reasons to laugh at it and hate it. Anyway, I'm out of here. You met Paris. That's my Twitter handle. You've seen the shows, or we've talked about the shows. Leave me a comment. Share this video. Let me know you're out there. Whatever. We'll see you next week, and stay safe, everyone.